Today's show is sponsored by the ABV Network Merchandise Shop. Check out our large assortment of logo merch and our lifestyle collection as well. Just head over to abvnetwork.com and click on shop. We are also sponsored by The Bar to Go. The Bar to Go offers a fully customizable carrying case that allows you to take your favorite distilled spirits or cocktail ingredients with you. Whether you're looking for yourself, a customized gift, or logo items for your business or event, The Bar to Go can help. Check them out at thebar2go.com. Use the number 2 when you type out The Bar to Go. Did you know Neely Family Distillery now ships its popular distilled spirits directly to you? To order, simply call 859-394-3258. Tell them the ABV Network sent you. Finally, we are sponsored by the upcoming Abv Barrel Shop, a new liquor store experience coming to St. Louis, Missouri. The Abv Barrel Shop will serve as home to the ABV Network and will be owned and operated by Steve Akeley, Jim Fosnot, and Scott Creighton, a.k.a. the Barrel Buddies. To learn more about the investment opportunities in this new venture, listen to the ad at the end of this podcast. And now, on to the show. Well, hello again, everybody. This is Steve Akeley. We are still on vacation, and this is show number 7 of season 2 of the Bourbon Talk Show. You've got Ryan Thompson on today, one of the people that I've known the longest in the bourbon industry. I interviewed him in the first thing that I ever did that was related to bourbon in terms of my writing. The series of books that I wrote started out as just simply products that were in grocery stores, and then I moved to some other things. I did a beer one, I did one that was all Hawaiian products, and then I did the bourbon one, which featured 20 different distilleries. Ryan Thompson's 10th Mountain Distillery was one of those. I've kept in contact with him ever since, which is very cool. And the other person on the show is a new friend of mine, Mama Howe. She owns Bourbon Joys, which makes all kinds of great treats, different chocolates, things like that, Buckeyes. She's got bourbon balls. She's got Rice Krispie treats, and then she does a cake too. And by the way, don't think it's just about candy. That cake I got one of those. It's fantastic. I enjoyed that at Thanksgiving this year. So she's fun. Great show. Check it out.
Let's drink!
Believe it or not, our first guest was one of the first bourbon people that I knew from the world of bourbon. He appeared in my 2015 book, Small Brand America, the Bourbon Edition, and we have been friends ever since. And I can't say that I've maintained friendships with everyone in the book, which is pretty cool. Ryan always made a point to continue to reach out to me, so we've maintained that friendship through the years. So ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. Ryan Thompson. Hey, Ryan, how you doing, buddy?
What's up, guys? Hey, Steve. Hey, McNew.
Hello.
Hello. So yeah, fun to talk to you today, bring you a part of the Bourbon Talk Show. I think we've been each other's number one fans. I've been able to watch what you've done with your distillery, and I know you've watched what I've done with the media thing, and it's been a cool thing, hasn't it?
Oh, it's been really cool, man. I'm really proud of you. You've got a lot of things going on, man. It's awesome to see, and I love our friendship and love seeing where it's going. So yeah, man, it's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. So we always like to start out with kind of a fun thing that has nothing to do with the interview or anything like that. But so the first question for you is, you grew up in Texas, but you've spent most of your adult life in Colorado. So you've chosen to be in Colorado. But I still have to ask, which is best? Because sometimes even when you make a big change like that, you still yearn for home. So what is better, Texas or Colorado?
Is this a trick question? I always answer that question. I say I'm proud to be a Texan. I just prefer to live in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
And that pretty much sums it up pretty well, I think.
Yeah.
Texas is a great place to grow up. Spent 18 years of my childhood there in Houston, and then ended up going to school in Dallas, and then graduated in 1998, and then packed the truck up and came up to the Vail, Colorado. I didn't know a person here. I just wanted to come ski and bartend at night and be a ski bum during the day, and so mission accomplished.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool story, actually. That's, like I said, the one that made the book, and that's what really got you in that first bourbon project I ever did was that one. So that was pretty cool. I was working on that in 2014, I believe. So cool stuff. So you did bartend, as you mentioned, but you ultimately ended up owning a restaurant. And it's something that you still do today, which people may or may not know. So, but tell us about that business. Very different than the distilling business. So tell us about the restaurant biz.
Yeah, sure. After the first 4 years of bartending around town, it was Either time, I was thinking about moving out of town to go maybe pursue an MBA or a law degree, or maybe get into commercial real estate back in Texas. And then there's an opportunity that came up to take over a restaurant space with two of my friends. And so we started the Westside Cafe in Westvale in 2002. And I still have my thumb on that today, although I'm not there on a daily basis. But as the Colorado State liquor laws go, I had to do some fancy paperwork, if you will, in order to make everything legal and on the up and up above the table there. But still have my thumb on that with my two original business partners. We're still good friends 19, 20 years later. And so that's going well. So that kept me in the hospitality business. I worked behind the bar there the first couple of years that we were out of the gates there. And then was watching what the craft distillery movement was doing, and was home brewing just for fun for 2, 3, 4 times a year. And then distilling is obviously the next step. And so I was watching what craft breweries were doing and where they were going and what craft distilleries started doing. And I just thought to myself, someone in this town is going to be making whiskey sooner or later. It might as well be me. So off I went.
So it was simply just a matter of that, huh? So you see a need. You're like, this sounds interesting. Let's do it. Is that kind of the thought process there?
Yeah, it's a thought process, but obviously with my bartending background, I had an appreciation for the brown spirits. Love the craft behind it. Love seeing how they're made. I've been to a number of distilleries previously. Obviously toured a lot of different breweries as well, and really started having a lot of fun with it, with the brewing aspect of it, and then wanted to take the next step. And so went out to Moonshine University in Louisville and got hands-on distilling knowledge there, which was great. So.
Yeah. Did you attempt any distilling before, going out to Moonshine University, or did you just go out there blind and be like, I'm going to learn this skill here and then I'll be able to start the business?
We've all have sped over the speed limit once or twice, right? But
sure.
It's frowned upon.
Right.
And so maybe or maybe not did I do a little distillation before I got out to Moonshine and was completely above the table with 10th Mountain Whiskey and Spirit Company. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, as you decide to get into this, you end up taking the name 10th Mountain. And tell us a little bit about, 10th Mountain and why you decided to make that the name of your company.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Well, 10th Mountain is one of the most active military divisions today. And they've been in all the major confrontations over the last 20 years. But they originated in our area in the 1940s, and they were a mountain warfare specific Army division. They went off and won some very significant battles in World War II, mainly in northern Italy. And when they returned, they wanted to share the outdoor lifestyle and skiing, the sport of skiing, with everyone they knew back here on home soil. And so they, in essence, started the modern day ski industry as we know today. Over 62 different ski resorts across the country are started by 10th Mountain vets. Vail Mountain being one of those, Aspen Mountain being another, just two notable ones here in Colorado. The National Outdoor Leadership School, the Knowles Experience, was started by a 10th Mountain vet. Nike was actually started by a 10th Mountain vet. A lot of people know Phil Knight, but he had a business partner named Bill Bowerman who served in the 10th. And so they were very active in the outdoor lifestyle. They were big entrepreneurs. And so when we were starting our distillery, we realized very quickly that without what those guys did in the 1940s and on, then we wouldn't be here today having the opportunity to distill, having the freedom to distill and make whiskeys and pursue our passion. So that's why we wanted to name it in honor of the 10th Mountain Army Division.
Yeah. Yeah. So it goes to the bigger picture of just allowing us to, have the freedom to do the things we want. But then you even got the story that take it even further, that they really invented the industry that is Colorado, all the ski resorts and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's really a gift that they've given, all of us here. Right. I mean,
yeah, it absolutely is. And not just skiing, but a lot of outdoor sports, but certainly in our backyard, we have a tasting room right in the heart of Vail Village, which is at the base of Vail Ski Mountain. Right across the creek from us is a statue dedicated in honor of the 10th Mountain. There's a big 10th influence in our area overall. Camp Hale, which is where they originated, is just about 12 miles south of us. And there's a 10th Mountain Memorial Highway on the way there. So there's a big 10th influence in our area anyways. And so there's a great appreciation, and we get to share that appreciation with all the visitors that come into town and maybe not know about the history of the 10th. Maybe they've heard about them, but don't know the importance that they played in the overall world history. And so over a glass of whiskey, we get the opportunity to share that story and help educate the general public that might not know so well about that division.
Yeah. What I love about you and what you do, and of course your brand there, is you have it in name, but you don't just use the military as a prop to get people in the door. You do a lot of great work for veterans charities. So tell us about some of the work that you do that helps raise money for people in need.
Yeah, absolutely, Steve. Thanks for asking. The philanthropic side of the distillery is very important to us. Using or having the namesake 10th Mountain Whiskey and Spirit Company named in honor of the 10th guys. We felt since day one that it was going to be an opportunity to work with different military nonprofits, not just 10th Mountain military, but military across the board. And so one of the great organizations that we like to support is the Vail Veterans Program. So they're here in our hometown, but they take vets from around the country and reintroduce them to the outdoor lifestyle, given whatever kind of physical challenges they have going on that they've suffered from the war. And so we love supporting those guys in a handful of different ways throughout the year. This past weekend, I've got to share with you, was a really special weekend for myself and our whole company. I was out at Fort Benning, Georgia, in Columbus, and we did the unveiling of the 4th Infantry Monument that we raised over $11,250 for in order to get this thing built and in place there at the Infantry Museum at the entrance of Fort Benning. And so we got there and did the unveiling. And lo and behold, they had engraved 10th Mountain Whiskey and Spirit Company on the base of it as a significant donor. And then they followed it up with some very significant recognition for myself. And when I say myself, I think it's on behalf of our whole company. But I became the first civilian to be an honorary member of the 4th Infantry on Saturday. And as awarded by the Brigadier General.
Wow, that's applause-worthy.
Yeah, thank you. And then I also got an award for the St. Maurice Award, which is another very significant recognition that I didn't even expect. I said when I received them that even a thank you and a handshake would have been too much. Those guys and gals have already done enough. And we were just, as a company, very honored to support and help raise some money for the monument that's going to be there long after I'm gone and we're all gone. So it means a lot to us. I guess those are just a couple of ways that we like to support the military. So
how do you keep it together for something like that? I think I might lose it in front of the group. I'd be up there just bawling if I get an honor like that.
That was the first question I got when I got back here in front of my team here in Colorado. And I did pretty good. It was on Saturday. Then I went back on Sunday with a couple bottles and took a couple more pictures, and it was just myself and my girlfriend, and it was just the two of us, and I might have shed a few tears then. So it happens. It means a lot to us.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. This next question is something that if I've known this, I've forgotten it. Maybe we talked about it for the book. I don't remember. But when I was doing some research, when you got a guest on, you have to do research. You get out on the internet and do that. And I didn't realize you used a Kickstarter campaign to get your distillery going. Tell me about that and how did that work? And you got to be the only guy who that's ever worked for distillery. I swear that could be the only. We did it
in 2000. Let's see, it was 2014 when we did it. Maybe it was 2013, somewhere in there. We did a Kickstarter campaign, and you can't sell spirits then. So it was just selling merchandise, glassware, hats, t-shirts, etc. And it was successful in the fact that we raised a chunk of money, certainly. In the whole overall scheme of things, to raise money for a distillery, it wasn't an enormous amount. It didn't cover 100% of our funds, our capital, to get the thing off the ground. But more importantly, we got a lot of attention, a lot of recognition, got some media out of it. And so it helped spread the word just outside of the Vail Valley, even with what we had going on, and that we were pursuing this and going down the road. So it was a lot of fun to do. I'd probably do it. I learned some lessons if I ever did it again, which I've considered. And/or I've also helped some other distilleries, at least talk some other distilleries about how they should go about doing it. So it's a lot of fun. And I think, we were probably one of the first distilleries, if not the first, to do a Kickstarter campaign back in the day. So yeah,
that's pretty cool. So you already mentioned that you learned, distillation through Moonshine University, and tell us a little bit about that class. So we're big supporters of them because they also support us. They are sponsors of our programming at the ABV Network. So we really love what they do. So tell us a little bit about what you learned, because, when you take one of those classes, it's my understanding you learn distillation, but you also learn how to manage the business and do things like that too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You're drinking from a fire hose. It's a week-long course, and they're throwing a ton of information at you. And the distillation aspect of it all, obviously is very important and a big part of it, but there's so much more that goes into the business that they teach at that course. And so not only we got connected with different suppliers, bottlers, labelers, cork suppliers, grain suppliers, learned the chemistry of the whole distillation process, got hands-on distilling knowledge as well. One of the things that's most valuable from that course are the connections that you make with the different instructors. And so we called Pete Kamer up last week or the week before, talking about an expansion and what he thought about a couple of our thoughts on expansion equipment and whatnot. And so we still call those guys. When I'm in Louisville, I'll make a point to stop by and say hello to them. It's a great group, which has been honestly an incredibly valuable relationship to have, while not only getting our distillery off the ground, but even 8 years later, to still be able to lean on them when we're making a new spirit, when we're thinking about expansion or something along those lines. But they're a wealth of knowledge. I think the course has probably only gotten better. So I think it's a ton of fun, obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
You drink a little booze too, so that's not
you sure do, right?
Right. So tell us about the products in your portfolio. Give us an idea about what you guys are doing there.
You want me to go through the run of all of them here?
Sure.
I got them conveniently. They're just right here in front of me.
Nice.
How about that? So we hang our hat on our whiskey expressions first and foremost. So we'll cover those towards the end. But vodka is the overall is 35% of the overall spirit market. One thing I learned at Moonshine University, we were just talking about making whiskeys, and one of the guys there, I don't know if it was Pete or somebody else, it might have been Scott from Thoroughbred Brands, but they threw out that vodka is 35% of the overall market. You sure you want to ignore those folks? And we were hearing what they were saying, so we didn't want to come out just with another grain-based vodka, so we ended up making our potato-based vodka. So that's it there in a 750 bottle, 100% potatoes. So 80 proof, retails for $33.99. That allows us a lot of flexibility at our tasting rooms to make different infusions. And if people aren't brown spirit drinkers, which a lot of people aren't, I don't know what's wrong with them, but a lot of people aren't. And so we offer our vodka and do a lot of different fun infusions with that as well. So it's been an important spirit in our overall product line. So I'm glad we started doing it. And obviously we started doing it day one. And so it's not going anywhere anytime soon. So our next clear product is our Colorado Clear Mountain Moonshine, which is an unaged whiskey. It's 100% corn, 80 proof unaged whiskey with the Colorado flag in the background there.
Nice.
And so it pays a little tribute to the state of Colorado. It makes a great gift for people that are out here on vacation, first and foremost. So they want to bring a piece of maybe Colorado back with them, piece of ale, maybe a piece of the distillery back with them. And so that's a fun bottle. We love the taste. It makes a great Bloody Mary. We do a lot of infusions with that as well. But we love it as is. Has some sweet notes of corn on it, a nice, clean, crisp finish. So that retails for $24.99. Our next bottle is, let's see, our Pinot Noir Brandy. And this is a really interesting story here. Yep, you got a bottle right there. So in a 375 bottle, retails for $29.99. Bottled at 90 proof, made with grapes from Monterey Valley, made Pinot Noir grapes from Monterey Valley. And I mentioned Vail Veterans Program earlier. One of the vets that attended that program, I had met 5 or 6 years ago, a guy named Kyle Pletsky, and he ended up getting a job at Smith Family Vineyards in Monterey. I had gone out there to visit their shop there and had met his boss, a guy named Justin, and Justin came out here to come out here on vacation, and we just hit it off. And they called me up a couple years ago and asked if I wanted 3,000 gallons of Pinot Noir to make brandy out of. And I was like, well, hell, we've never even thought about making brandy, but sure, why not? Let's give it a shot.
Right.
How much are you charging? It's like, oh, I'm not going to charge you anything. Just cut me in on the sales on the back end and let's go. I'm like, Justin, you guys got a deal. Let's do this. And again, that's one of the things where we leaned on Moonshine University as well. We hadn't made brandy before. It's a little different distillation technique and aging technique. And so we're like, well, let's give it a shot. And we aged it in our bourbon barrels for 2 years. Released it this past April, and it's been very well received. So some people have been talking to us about maybe entering in some competitions. We never really thought about doing that, but here we are down the road and proud of it. And so we did it another year afterwards with 5,000 gallons. And so it might be a mainstay in our product line. So
nice.
Our Alpine Cordial, which is probably our most unique spirit. It's a sage peach vanilla cordial. We were wanting to come out with not necessarily schnapps, but kind of an after you get off the mountain drink to warm up with a little bit. And we wanted to use some Colorado influence flavors. So that's where the sage and peach come from. And so we wanted to blend those as a blending agent, use the vanilla, 70 proof. It's a cordial, so it's going to be a little more on the sweeter side. So if whiskeys are too strong for you, or if one of our spirits are too strong, then a cordial is really a good go-to that we present our guests at our tasting rooms. And it's usually a winner at that point. People love it once they taste it. So it's quite delicious. Next is our 10th Mountain Rye, and this is our most awarded spirit. Mr. Bill gives it a thumb up there. 86 proof, 65% rye, 31% corn, and 4% barley. Just received a gold medal in this past San Francisco's International Spirits Competition, and Jim Murray's Whiskey Bible rated at 94.5 points.
Congrats.
And also won a gold medal in Whiskeys of the World. So obviously rye whiskey is going to be a little spicier than our bourbon, traditional bourbon, but it's something that we're very proud of. And it's if you polled our 14 of our employees, probably 10 of them would say that's their go-to. So very full body, a little drier finish. Mr. Bill, I don't know how you're enjoying it tonight, but great neat on the rocks, and it actually mixes well with our Alpine cordial. So
I'm drinking it neat.
There you go.
Very cool.
And then last but not least is our best seller, which is our 10th Mountain Bourbon. Retails at $57.99. It's 92 proof, 75% corn, 21% rye, and 4% malted barley. Well, all of our whiskey, I'm sorry, not last. I've got one more. My bad. I skipped one. All of our whiskeys are aged in American New Oak barrels with a number 4 char. Most of them are 53 gallons, but we do have stuff aging in 30 gallon, 10 gallon, 5 gallons as well. We've got a couple experiments that aren't released yet that we're aging in the smaller barrels just to see how well they mature. So, but our bourbon as overall category, like everybody knows here, is the biggest category of whiskeys, and so that's one of the reasons that our bourbon probably is our best seller. But it's very well received and is we think is damn good. So the last whiskey that we just came out with about 3 weeks ago is our 10th Mountain American Single Malt.
Single malt.
Yes, sir. So excited for this. We bottled it at 90 proof, retailing for $79.99, aged in our American New Oak barrels. Again, we saw a couple years ago that the single malt category overall was getting a lot more attention. A lot more people were talking about it, and it's something that we all enjoy around here. So we started laying down barrels about 2.5, 3 years ago, not very many. So you can only get this at our tasting rooms at the distillery and in our Vail Village tasting room. So we're not distributing it yet outside of that, just because we don't have a lot of barrels. So, but yeah, we just launched that and are incredibly excited to have that on the shelves here. So
nice.
That's our line right now.
Yeah, good stuff for sure.
Thank you.
We first chatted in 2014 when I was working on that book, Small Brand America. What do you remember about that project?
I remember being flattered that you asked us to be in it.
Nice.
Yeah. It's, you started about the same time as we did. And that was one of our first publications we ever featured in. So it was very humbling to be asked to be part of that book. And like you alluded to early on in the conversation, our relationship has just continued to grow from that. And I love just watching what you're doing. And it all started on that book. And I don't know if you realize it, but yeah, that's one of the very first publications we got asked to be in. So
that's cool.
Very honored, very, very humbled, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. I definitely enjoyed doing that. That was when I still had my corporate job. I literally would work on that at my lunch. I'd leave for lunch and I go do the interviews for that. And then I would, just like you may or may not have done any distilling. I may or may not have started, writing the book right after those interviews, right after lunch. But I don't know.
Hey, you're hustling. You got it done. A lot of people want to write a book their whole life, but end up on their deathbed without doing it. So congrats.
Well, thank you. Yeah. So it was something to do, and it ends up leads me down the path to where I'm at today, which is pretty cool. Because, like I said, that was my first bourbon project ever. So
you're doing it right when you make a lot of people jealous with your job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
I'm sure you hear it a lot. I hear it pretty often, and but if people are kind of envious of what you do for a living, then I think you're doing it right. And I'd imagine a lot of people are envious of what you're doing, Steve. So keep up the good work.
Well, thank you. Yeah. And it's one of those things too. If you are doing it right, it doesn't ever feel like you're working. It just feels good. So we're there now. Of course, we'll be talking to Mama Howe in a little bit, working with chocolates. I'm sure she has a good time too. So, yeah. So you've been doing this for 7 years now with the distillery. Tell us a little bit about, doing this for 7 years. Is that, as you look back on that, is it pretty powerful? And where do you go from here?
Time flies, right?
Right.
And that's very true with this. There's never a dull moment. I can't remember the last time I was bored, especially in the last 7-8 years. This business is a lot of fun. It's extremely challenging. I think one of the coolest aspects of it is the people you meet because of it. Whiskey opens up a lot of doors. You get to sit down and chat with someone for 30 minutes or an hour. Whatever it is, and build a relationship that way, and start talking about whatever whiskeys they like, find something in common. And I never could have imagined 7-8 years ago some of the people I would have met and some of the experiences I've had because of the business. So we want to keep on growing the business. We want to be a national brand. We're in 15 states now, some very low volume, some decent volume, but nonetheless, the doors are open in those states. And so we really are looking to be a national brand and are trying to grow it smart. We don't necessarily want to, I guess it'd be cool to be an overnight success, but that's not what we're going for. We want to grow it smart and grow it right. And so that's the overall goal, is to be a national brand, and who knows, maybe international brand, and most importantly, have some fun while we do it. So, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, as I have watched this, and it's just amazing to watch, to see the growth of your company, and now you're expanding out, even coming my way into Missouri, which is really cool. I can see the growth and the things that you're doing and how it's working. And, you're a guy who self-professed ski bum and bartender, but in reality, you're so much more than that. You hustled and you worked hard, and you've turned that bartender gig into owning a restaurant, a bar / now owning a distillery. And it's pretty amazing. So you're definitely an entrepreneur. So what do you like most about being an entrepreneur, for our last question here?
Sure. Well, I guess maybe I overstepped a little bit saying, but I think just to revisit the question is the people I've met because of it, I think is something I never thought would be happening. And that's been a ton of fun. The camaraderie, I think, that we have with our whole team. We've got a very passionate team of 14 people, from tasting room managers and tasting room sales reps to national sales director who's on the road 90% of the time, a local sales director. Obviously, our distillation team are very passionate. They work their tails off. Social media gal and marketing director. So it's just a very passionate team of people that are really great to work with. And we get to make a cool product, and we get to support the military, which is what we're all very passionate about. And sometimes sitting around the still with some new make whiskey coming off, and it's kind of like sitting around a fire, right? You can sit around and BS with people and have a good time and introduce new make whiskey to people that probably have never had it straight off the still, which is a lot of fun. So there's a lot of great things about being an entrepreneur, especially in the distilling business. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Ryan, hey, thanks so much for being part of this day. Let's hear it for Mr. Ryan Thompson.
Right.
Ryan, you can stick around, right? We'll have you stay here as we interview Mama Howe, and then at the end, when we shut off the microphones, we'll have a little Q&A with our studio audience. So,
I'm dying to hear what Mama Howe has to say. Whiskey and chocolate go hand in hand, so
Yes.
I'm not going anywhere.
And she's got a great story, so should be fun. But what we'll do next, we'll take a quick break. And then when we come back, we'll be talking to Mama Howe. We'll do that in just a few. Hello, this is Steve Akeley of the ABV Network. Let's talk about the people who make this show happen. First up is Leatherwood Distillery in Pleasant View, Tennessee. Company founder Andy Lang started distilling as a hobby while serving his country as an elite Green Beret. Andy distilled all over the world during his time in the military and brought this passion back to him in the U.S. when he returned home. A visit to Leatherwood combines Andy Lang's unique distilled spirits and a museum of artifacts from his time serving the U.S. Share a drink with a fallen soldier at their bar where you can grab an acrylic bio off the wall that celebrates the individuals who gave the ultimate sacrifice to protect his or her country. They will also ship their distilled spirits directly to you, so check them out at leatherwooddistillery.com. We are also sponsored by Moonshine University. This longtime partner for the ABV Network helps educate individuals looking to get into the distilled spirits business, service industry employees looking to expand their knowledge, and individuals simply wanting to know more about the process and history of the spirits industry. In 2017, I completed my Executive Bourbon Steward certification at Moonshine University, and it's something I continuously draw upon and connect with fellow graduates. Check out their full listing of classes, including Executive Bourbon Steward certification, production classes, and more at moonshineuniversity.com. Okay, let's talk about Neely Family Distillery. In 2018, I met Royce Neely at an industry event. He started appearing on our shows, and we became friends during my frequent visits to Kentucky. Today, he's leading the way for young distillers making their mark on the bourbon industry. A visit to Neely Family Distillery combines family history, a look at what makes their products unique, and of course a tasting through their whiskeys, moonshines, and creams. Check them out at neelyfamilydistillery.com and visit them in Sparta, Kentucky. All right, back to the show. Well, go ahead, Danny. Is there something you need to say?
Just sitting there saying that, plain and simple, if you're sending me to a text, you need to tell me you need to send it to me on a text. So,
Well, our next guest has managed to make the best of a bad situation in a global pandemic by launching herself into entrepreneurship. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mama Howe. Hey, Mama Howe, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, Steve. Thanks for having me. And Ryan, I love listening to your story.
Yeah, he is a cool guy for sure. So yes, he's got a great story, and you, of course, have an interesting story to tell. So, but before we get to all that, and it's going to be very focused on your work and the challenges with your job and launching yourself into, owning your own business. But what do you do outside of work? What are some of the things that you enjoy, like a hobby or just things that you like to do?
Well, I enjoy cooking a lot.
Okay, that makes sense.
Gardening. So I planted a bunch of tomatoes and squash and pumpkins this year. So that was fun. And this summer, I went down to Nashville to see my brother and sister because my oldest sister and my only brother lives down there. So it was fantastic to see them because I hadn't seen them since the pandemic started.
Right.
So
how do you like the traffic there?
The traffic, I really didn't run into a lot. They really don't live right in Nashville.
Okay,
they live
that's good.
in Cassis and somewhere else nearby. But I really didn't run into a lot of traffic. It wasn't bad at all.
That's good. That's good. But so you enjoy, doing family things, traveling around a little bit. Anything else you like to do?
Well, this weekend we're going to go to the farm. My middle daughter and her husband, they own a farm. And so we're going there this weekend and we can't wait to do that. So we'll do some four-wheeling and we'll do some fishing and then I'll fry up the fish. And so that'll be fun. We'll have
all that sounds fun. So yeah,
right.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you had a career, and I mean, I'm talking a real career. 46 years you spent in dentistry. So tell us a little bit about what your job was in that field.
My job in that field was fantastic. I love dentistry every single day.
Really?
And I did temporary crowns and I took x-rays and all kinds of stuff. And I mean, Steve, I liked my job for 46 years, every single day. I mean, I loved it. I mean, I thought that I'd be in it till literally the day I died. I mean, there wasn't anything about it that I didn't enjoy. I love the patients. I love the artistry of dentistry. I just really enjoyed it. And I mean, I was at the same office the last 35 years. And so you just get to know all the patients so well, and you develop relationships with them. And then you see their children having children. And it was just a wonderful experience. I loved it. But I'm sure enjoying making candy now.
I guess. Here's interesting trivia. McNew here used to work in dentistry for a while. That's her career.
Three years.
Stephanie.
Yeah.
I was a dental assistant. I was expanded function, so I got to put the fillings back in. But I really loved extractions. Like if there was an extraction in, I was like, put me in that room. I loved it.
Yes. And now doing the implants and everything, that was fun too. I really enjoyed that. I mean,
my office was tiny. We didn't get to do those. We did a lot of fillings, cleanings, extractions was basically what we did.
Well, that's mostly what I did until just recently, the last 2 or 3 years, we got, because the son started in, and so he to doing the implants and everything. So that was a big learning experience, but I really enjoyed it too.
Yeah, it was a great time in my life. Like I kind of miss it some days, but I was like, I quit because I didn't like wearing scrubs. Loved everything else.
Huh, that's actually surprising.
And we didn't know someday we'd be wearing masks for so long.
Oh my goodness. I never thought about it then. It just seemed normal. And now I'm like, I don't want to wear that.
Yeah.
Totally different.
That's right.
Yeah. So that business is, crazy. And I've never had any teeth problems. I haven't had a cavity since I was a kid, never any teeth problems. Of course, this pandemic starts, and literally, 2 weeks after the whole thing gets going, I crack a tooth. I've never cracked a tooth in my life. And then I got to find my dentist. He's not really even working at that point. And that kind of leads us into your story because, most of the dental clinics were closed down. They didn't know what to do. And ultimately, I think yours opened back up. I'll let you tell the story, but it's my understanding yours opened back up, but your husband had some issues where you didn't want, you couldn't take a chance of going and working with patients and bringing COVID back home because he had some existing health issues. So tell us about that story and how that leads you into starting your own business.
Yeah, well, March 13th was the last day I was in dentistry. Okay. And I couldn't imagine that it would be the last day that I was in dentistry. We closed the office down. I want to say that we closed it down for 2 to 4 weeks. I really can't remember exactly.
Right.
Then when it was, we were thinking about going back to work, it was like, how can I take a chance on going back to work and taking a chance that I would bring this, COVID into my house and to my husband, because he has heart issues, lung issues. As a matter of fact, just a few months ago, he had open heart surgery.
Right.
And so it's just been, a long road for him the last 5 years. But then, so I just was sitting around, and Butch and I were enjoying spending time together. But you can only enjoy that for so long. And then, when you're used to going to work every single day, you're used to going to work every single day. And then to just be sitting around watching TV with him. And, it was good, though. I mean, Butch and I needed to be able to have that time. He had been off work for at least 5 years with disability. And so it was nice for us to be able to spend time together. And then when it got to the point that, financially, it was like, okay, I need to be doing something. I can't just be sitting here not doing anything. And so then my daughter, my middle daughter, Carmen, she decided, Mom, why don't you start making candies like you do at Christmas time and make some of your cakes and stuff? And I thought, well, that's great at Christmas time. That's great for friends. But do you think I can really make a business out of it? Well, my middle daughter and my youngest daughter, they both are marketing majors. And so they were like, yes, you can do that. And so they were taking care of the branding. They were taking care of the website. They were doing everything they needed to do social media wise to get me, some publicity and stuff. And so then Bourbon Joys was created. And even though my grandson, he wanted to call it Gigi's Chocolates, decided on Bourbon Joys instead.
Well, and that's how I saw your story. Again, your daughters, it's so helpful that you're able to turn this into a family business where you can work and your daughters can help you. It's so cool. And I saw some of that marketing that you got early on. I saw a news show and, kind of like Ryan, maybe I was in the prime of my home. I got a little emotional watching this. So, I mean, I can look at you and I know you worked in dentistry 46 years and I can see your face. So you're probably about 47, 48 years old and you have to go out and start this business. There's no way you worked in dentistry 46. There might be a math error there. Something's not working out math wise here, Mama Howe.
I'm 66 now.
Oh, come on now. 66. There's no way.
And I thought I'd do dentistry until I was 96. Now I'm hoping to be making candy until I'm 96.
Yeah.
It's so great though, because now Butch and I are able to work right across the table from each other. I mean, I work out of a commercial kitchen now because I thought about putting a commercial kitchen in my basement, but that just didn't work out.
A lot of rules and regulations and all that. Yeah.
Commercial kitchen at 240 Adams Street, and that is working out beautifully. And so anything, with bourbon in it has to be made at the commercial kitchen. Anything I ship has to be made in the commercial kitchen. Anything that I even take over state lines, because I do a lot of delivery over to Indiana. So all of that has to be made in the commercial kitchen. But then anything that's going to just be local doesn't get shipped out or anything. I can just make in my home, in my cottage kitchen. So it's been like Ryan was talking about at the beginning, getting all the logistics figured out and everything. That's a big deal.
Right.
I was used to going into work, doing my fillings, working on the patient. But now for me to have to figure out all this stuff, it was a challenge.
Yeah. And, when you're working in dentistry, you have a official start time and an end time, but it's not like, you're filling cavities or taking any work home with you. When you're an entrepreneur, you're always working. An order may come in at 8:00 at night and you're like, okay, what do I, it never stops. You probably work way more hours now, but it's also probably more rewarding, right?
It is so rewarding. And I mean, what is so fantastic is to see how supportive people are. I mean, the local community and even the national community. I mean, I guess it was either springtime or the beginning of summer, and we had a sister station pick up our story. And all of a sudden we were getting all these hits on the website. And it was like, why is this all of a sudden happening? And so we got a lot of orders then. And I mean, it just amazes me how supportive people can be just because they hear your story and they can go out and buy, candies, lots of places. But for them to choose you, it just really is humbling.
Yeah. And, before this, so literally your foray into candy was you would make it at the holidays. Is that kind of when you would make candy? And this was for like a friends and family type of thing?
Exactly. I mean, when people would come over to my house, I'd always have bourbon balls made, Buckeyes, Rice Krispie treats, and, a variety of cakes. I only limit myself to one cake just because it doesn't have an icing that's going to be messy in shipping or delivery or anything like that. But I mean, it's like, how can these 4 little products be able to make me the business that I am today? So it's really been great.
Well, I've tasted it, and I think that I have the answer as to how that can be. So, yes, really great stuff that you're making. So, yeah, you got to try it. So, you started out literally just as a one-person business, but your daughters are involved. So, what's their role?
Well, and they all have full-time jobs,
Mm-hmm.
and so, but I mean, like, they'll sit there and make lists of things that I need to do, like. In September, I made a lot of deliveries to dental offices and to other businesses that my daughter thought would be good. And the ones that they had to, like dental offices, like Stephanie, I'm sure knows this, that you get goodies at Christmas time and everything.
Yeah. We loved our referral offices. All the Indos sent us so many goodies.
They did you so much stuff. But it's like, if you're going to send stuff, make it Bourbon Joys. And so she knew other businesses that had that same type of thing, a referral type situation. So that then I was going out and making samplers for them so that then they would know my products and I could talk to them about, hey, at Christmas time, if you need different, spice it up a little bit or make something different than you've done in the past, why don't you think about doing Bourbon Joys? So we've really had a fantastic result of that. And then also weddings. I never thought about weddings, but so many people are doing dessert bars now. And so they'll put out, instead of donuts and stuff like that they were for a while, now they're, putting out my bourbon balls and my Buckeyes and even the Rice Krispie treats. I mean, it amazes me. I mean, at first I thought it was going to be mostly bourbon balls, but now the Buckeyes definitely are almost right at a 50-50 situation there. And the Rice Krispie treats, even that I just barely, I make them into little circles and then just barely dip them in chocolate. And I mean, those are even going to the weddings. So it's just amazed me, the support you get from people and how my daughters are able to help me figure out where to go. And then my oldest daughter, she works for a business and she's an administrative assistant. She keeps me organized and she keeps all my products stocked. So she's got all my boxes, all my bags, today we did that. And what do you need for Christmas so that we don't have to sit there and worry that it's out in a ship somewhere just waiting to be delivered. I need it now.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you think about business at the most simple form, it's very simple. You make a product and a customer buys it, but there's a lot of different ways to sell. And it sounds like you're doing a lot of different things. You're doing some wholesale, some retail. Are you doing some mail order and stuff like that? And selling to weddings, events and that. So there's a lot of different ways that you can actually sell your product, isn't there?
There is. And that's what's amazed me with my, daughters that are in marketing, to figure that stuff out and then to say, market yourself in the weddings. And then we're at Daniel Boone National Park down at Red River Gorge.
Oh, nice. Congrats. Yeah.
Old Town Liquors on Bardstown Road. So, I mean, it's just nice. And that's the kind of stuff that I hope to get into more. This year, we told ourselves we were going to focus on two things. We were going to focus on the weddings and we were going to focus on getting prepared for the holidays again, because the holidays last year, even though I just started November 9th of last year, oh my gosh, Christmas time was so fantastic.
Oh, nice. That's great to hear. And I assume anybody who's listening can order products mail order, and tell us a little bit logistically how that works. And especially, it's got to be tough for chocolate, not so much this time of the year, but if you're ordering something in July or August, it's probably an issue. So how do you work through logistics of being in the chocolate business for where you've got weather cycles?
Well, it has amazed me that it hasn't been as challenging as I thought it might be. It's amazing. I had these little 3-ounce pouches of ice, but then I laid those out one day and realized they didn't stay iced for very long at all. So I thought that's going to be useless. So then I had to get bigger ones. So now I get something that's more like 6 by 6, and I'll just put it in the bottom of the box. And it's just enough to keep it cool because everything ships in 2 to 4 days.
Right.
It just amazes me because I would call people and make sure that they got the product and it was in good shape. And everybody, it all arrived in good shape. So, I mean, it's really made me happy because I wasn't worried about that. And then all of a sudden it was it's 104 out in California and I'm sending something out there. And you just, it's you don't want the box to all of a sudden be a melted blob of chocolate.
Right,
so,
right.
Nice to realize that it was it arrived well.
Yeah.
So
well, and your story is such a feel good story. So someone who's been doing a job for 46 years finds that they no longer can do that, needs to continue to work to help support her family, and you get a lot of publicity when that's your story. But of course, there's then once the story's been told, they're on to something else. And how's it been continuing to keep interest in what you're doing? Because it's a full-time job for you. You got to keep that interest out there. How are you able to continue to do that?
You do have to. And I mean,
right.
Is reaching out to the customers. Like today, one of the deliveries that I made was somebody that I did her wedding. And so she thinks, oh, I need to send a sympathy gift to someone. So she sends Bourbon Joys, and that just warms my soul. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that I love that people think of. is that, okay, they use me once, but then they think, okay, when I have a Christmas gift to give, or I have a Valentine's gift to give, or just a sympathy gift, or, you started a new job. That's what makes me feel so good, is that those people are reusing me. And I think that it's just, simple things that you can put on the website that, or Instagram and Facebook is not on the website. Instagram and Facebook, that they just put up a story, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, all of a sudden my watch is vibrating and it's like, oh, somebody's on the website. So, it really, that type of thing is what's good, and it just snowballs. And that's what I tell people. When when you get a gift for somebody, then it introduces me to them. And that's what is just so great, because then they just sit there and use it. And it's just like a snowball going down a mountain.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet you it feels pretty good when that watch goes off. I know this. My wife doesn't like. I've got a notification when someone makes a purchase on our store. We have a web store, and it sounds like a little cash register. An order's just come in, and I love that sound. And my wife would tell me, "Why do you turn that on when we're out and do something?" I'm like, I don't care what's going on. If that sound's coming in, I want to hear it every single time.
Right.
Right. Yeah. It never gets old. No.
And somebody cares enough to send your product to somebody, or, in your situation, somebody cares enough about what you've got there that they want to, purchase it.
It's a good feeling. It definitely is. And every time I want to hear, I'm actually mad if I miss one. Like if I'm out of the room and I'm like, oh, an order came in, I didn't hear that little noise. I want to hear that. So, I know one of the things you talked about is you wanted to make some inroads with distilleries, because you can make chocolates with their bourbon. Have you had any luck getting into distillery gift shops and that kind of stuff?
No, I haven't.
Ryan's got his hand up. You might have one here.
Good. Ryan, just give me a call. Or anybody that's out there, give me a call.
Sure. Sure.
And just because this year we decided to, because, just like the 7 years that Ryan has been doing this, it evolves. And so I'm hoping we were in Shelbyville today, and we weren't very far from the Bullet Distillery.
Oh, Bullet. Okay. Yeah.
Our grandson was so tired, because we thought about going by there, but he was so tired that we were like, no, let's not do it today. But I'm hoping that 2022 is when I'm going to be reaching out to distilleries and hoping that I can get in, some of their gift shops and stuff like that, because that would be fantastic. Because especially, and I always tell people, hey, right now I'm making it with Bullet, because that's what, my bourbon friends did a taste testing. I think I told you this last time, Steve.
Yep.
Did a taste testing, and we decided on Bullet. But it's like, okay, if you want me to be in your store, I can make it with whatever bourbon you want me to make it with. And of course, the bourbon balls is the only thing that I put bourbon in. My Buckeyes don't have any, and even my apple crisp cake. Although somebody suggested, have you ever thought about putting bourbon in your apple crisp cake? I said, well, no, I haven't, but I guess
that's a good pairing flavor. I'll say that. So
yeah.
So. If Ryan's got two places actually, so he's got a tasting room and a distillery gift shop. So, he'd be a good guy to talk to. And matter of fact, we even got a guy going out there could bring back the bourbon, right? So you don't have to ship it. So it makes life easy. So the timing's worked. It couldn't have been better. But last question I've got for you. You've got different products, and of course, I'm sure you bake even a lot more than that. There's a lot of things you make. What's your favorite? Which one do you enjoy eating the most, other than just whatever one you happen to be eating at the moment? What's your true favorite?
Well, it used to be the bourbon balls,
right?
But then the Rice Krispie treats, they are just unfortunately, a quick, easy thing to pop in your mouth.
Right.
And the bad thing about it is when I make those, I don't know exactly how many, batch makes, but somewhere about 100. I might need 5, or I might need 25. And like today, I just put one of these packages. This is Rice Krispie treat. I just put it on extra package of this in somebody's, because it's like, if I don't give them away, I will eat them.
Right.
So, and then these are my bourbon balls and my Buckeyes.
Okay. Oh yeah. They look fantastic.
But I have a package of 3 10, 16, and 32. And so my 16 piece is probably my biggest seller, whether it's a gift giving situation at Christmas time, or even if it's just people trying out my product. The 16 piece is probably my, most go-to. But then a lot of people like my apple crisp cake. I'm delivering to a pediatrician's office in November, and they've ordered 12 cakes. And then a place called Garden Gate in Louisville, which is kind of like it's a fruit market. They want to start getting my cake. So that'll be real nice if they do that, because I would love to do my cake more, because my cake serves, like 12 people or something. So it's like you get a lot of bang for your buck, because my cake is $25. So it's like, hey.
You ship those too? Do you ship the cakes?
Yes. And they
cool.
ship so good, because if you go on my website, you'll be able to see this. But the icing that's on it is just like a drizzle. And so it gets hard. So it ships real easy. When I deliver it here locally, I just put it in a real pretty, brown box similar to, this.
Right.
But when I ship it, I wrap it in saran wrap, and then I wrap it in Reynolds wrap. And so it stays, everybody says it arrives real fresh. And there's not the mess of any kind of icing or anything, because that's why I chose that cake, because it ships so easily. And I don't have to worry about the mess of buttercream icing or something like that.
Yeah. Well, Mama Howe, thanks you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Let's hear it for Mama Howe, folks. Let's hear it for Mama Howe.
Yes.
A couple more questions for you, Mama Howe. People want to follow the journey. They want to buy your chocolates. Where can they get them? And I think the second one that needs to go hand in hand with that, we are probably starting to think about now, holiday season, gift giving. When do we have to get our orders in to make sure we're getting them in time to get our holiday delivery? So if you don't mind, tell us where we can follow your journey and when we need to order for the holidays.
Okay. BourbonJoys.com is the website. And so you can do your ordering, paying, everything on there. You can see all of the choices of the products and everything. And then I love to be able to get the orders in November, just so I know what the products are. But even if it's the first or second week in December, but the sooner that you order it, and like the people that are ordering it to, do it as gifts or something like that, and they, like this pediatrician's office that I'm doing, they're doing it for Thanksgiving instead of Christmas as a thank you gift. So that's kind of nice too, when some of it's in Thanksgiving time,
right,
and then some of it's Christmas time. But I'll be, I'll be shipping all through the holidays. So I usually ship on Mondays so that it gets there before it has to sit anywhere, over the weekend. So I like to ship on Mondays, and then locally I deliver on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then they can pick up on Saturday. But really, people aren't doing much pickup, for the most part. They have me deliver, or if it's, out of a 30 or 45 minute area, they just have me ship it to them.
Okay. Mr. Bill lives in the greater Louisville area. He may be driving by his house to get regular deliveries now. So
Bill, just give me a call. I'll bring it to you anytime. I love
it. There you go. That's great stuff. And I assume you're available on all of the social media platforms too. Just Bourbon Joys?
Yep. BourbonJoys@gmail.com is my email. And then, I'm sure it says on my website.
All right. Fair enough.
But we do stuff on Instagram, and we do stuff on Facebook.
Okay. And Ryan, how about you? Will people want to follow your journey? Where do they need to go? What places can they find you guys?
Sure, Steve. Thanks for asking. Mama Howe, that's awesome. I can't wait to connect with you. We're definitely working together.
That's good.
So, you can find us at 10thwhiskey.com. That's 10th for 10th, whiskey with an E.com. Our social handles are 10th MTN Whiskey. Across the board, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. So
you're even on TikTok, huh?
We are. You got to go over to the.
I'm gonna go follow you.
We're suggesting December 1st this year. Shipping is so challenging. Just to be safe, December 1st is kind of our go-to date.
Okay.
Good chance it could be December 10th, December 15th, maybe, depending where you're at in the country. we use a fulfillment partner out of Los Angeles. So that's where San Diego and Los Angeles areas. So that's where our spirits are coming from. We ship them pallets of our spirits, and then they ship on our behalf to fulfill our direct-to-consumer orders. So it'll get to you, but I think it's a great tip for any gift that you're buying online to plan way ahead this year.
Plan early this year. Yeah. Can't say
shipping
enough.
is challenging. So
Shipping is challenging. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. McNew, how about you? Where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at McNew ABV, and every Tuesday hosting bottle kills and lost meals on the ABV Network channel.
All right, for me, I'm an easy guy to find. I'm at Steve Akeley on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. I've got a website, steveakeley.com. We've also got a company website. That thing's abvnetwork.com. Check it out because everything that we do is out there. Our shop is out there at ABV Network. We put our previous shows out there, our blogs, so much more, abvnetwork.com. Very nice. McNew, anything else to say before we get out of here?
I'd like to remind the audience to please give us a 5-star review. That includes comments. It helps new people find the show, which is very important to us. And if you like what we're doing, we ask that you please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/the Network.
All right, great job today, McNew. For our audience, we'll have a brand new show for you tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Until then, take care, everybody. See ya.
Bye.
Peace. Before we finish the show, let's talk about some great companies that support the ABV network. First up is Moonshine Still Pro. Moonshine Still Pro has a full line of products to help the home distiller. Whether you want to experiment on the stove in your kitchen or you're looking for a bigger setup in your backyard, owner Russell Creed and his team can help. They have multiple still offerings, accessories, and even grain from their partners at Goldstone Mill to assist you in making whiskey on par with your favorite distillery. They can also help you with some fabricated parts you probably can't make yourself if you are attempting a DIY still project. Learn more or order your still or parts at moonshinestillpro.com. Another friend of ours is the Goldstein family at Goldstone Mill. The Goldsteins offer a variety of heritage and heirloom grains to make the finest whiskeys in the world. Plus, they are more than just a grain company. They are truly consultants to make sure the grains they are providing to you or your business meet your highest expectations. Additionally, they work with mills around the country, ensuring shipping is as low as possible for their customers. If you're a distillery, brewery, or even doing this at home, Goldstone can assist you. Check them out at goldstonemill.com, call them at 217-254-6613, or check in via email at hello@goldstonemill.com. Last but not least, at the top of the show, I mentioned investment opportunities at the new liquor store concept, the Abv Barrel Shop, being launched in 2022 by myself, Jim Fosnot, and Scott Creighton. We are crowdfunding some of the capital needed to open the store. Not only does it offer a return on your investment, but a lifetime of status and benefits at the store. Of course, this investment is a loan and involves a high degree of risk, which may not be suitable for all persons. Prospective investors should carefully evaluate the risk and merits of an investment, should confer with their own legal and financial advisors, and should be able to bear the risk of the loss of their investment before considering the investment described herein. If you would like more information, contact us via the Under Construction website at abvbarrelshop.com and fill out the form.
The Bourbon Daily is part of the ABV Network. For more information or to become a sponsor, please visit abvnetwork.com. Thanks for listening and cheers.
This has been a Steve Akeley production.